What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the Knights of the Old Republic remake one more time, and this really will kind of put it to bed because the topic here is, will we ever see this game? Is this game eventually going to come out? And again, really, this is kind of where I plan on leaving it because at best, right, and we heard from Schreier's report, like 2025 is what they're like eyeing on. Now, if it even happens, I want to kind of go over the report one more time or parts of it to explain myself, but even if we get this game, it is a long way away, and there's really not going to be too much reason to talk about it for the next, honestly, like year and a half, 2 years probably, until you start getting really, really close. But will the game actually release? Now, man, that's a tough question. I think actually Jeff Grubb asked this question over on Twitter. An overwhelming majority of people to him said no. I still... okay, in the article, they talk about, well, obviously people were being fired, right? It seems like the studio is kind of in a panic. I think at some point in the article, they mentioned that the team that's working on it, they're looking for other projects to do. So it's very possible, if not likely, that they get moved off of this game entirely and they get moved to doing something else. Or they close down the studio. I mean, like, very bad things can happen. And that's why, when we talk about these things, like, I don't want people being fired. I don't want people losing their jobs, especially in the economy that we are now, very much present in. I don't want that. But at the same time, I mean, if this game was if it was almost laughable to Sony and to Lucasfilm, and they said, we're not doing this, like, this is all you have, and this is the amount of time and money we put in. So I guess the cop-out answer, and I have seen other people kind of say this, the answer to, will we ever get a Knights of the Old Republic remake? The answer is probably yes. I can't imagine, specifically because, like, it's kind of like in the universe now, right? Because they announced it and people know about it. I would find it very hard to believe that somebody at some point, if it's not Aspire still, they jump in and they try to do it. Because I just feel like there is an appetite from, I definitely believe this, from consumers. There's an appetite, I think, for this game. I think this game would do tremendous. It would do unbelievable numbers, right? You'd have a lot of the old-time fans coming back, and you'd have a lot of new-time fans that have never played the original coming in to try it for the very first time with modernized everything, right? And I think that's very, very successful. So if Aspire themselves cannot handle it, I do think at some point, I guess... Well, we'll bring this up because I want to bring in Sony, right? Because that's an important piece of the puzzle. If Aspire can't handle it, you'd imagine somebody else would step up. Now, the reason I am honestly semi-optimistic about Aspire being the ones to do it, is because I just don't know about what's being talked about, or what the contracts are, what was talked about behind the scenes. This is Aspire comes out and they do ports and stuff, and this was a big, undertaking by them, right? It just was, and they brought in help, and they were working seemingly hard, and they didn't achieve all that much, but, like, Sony's in on it too, because Sony has, like, what does the deal say? Does the deal say, like, the game is gonna come out, and when it does come out, it comes out exclusively on PlayStation and on PC for the first year? If you don't like what you've gotten from them, is there, like, an out clause? Are you contractually obligated to support? Like, who's paying them? Who pays Aspire to do this stuff? Do they pay themselves, or is Sony lending them some money? Is Lucas? Like, I don't know. And these are all questions. I don't know. But I would imagine Sony wouldn't be happy no matter what, like, not receiving the game. Now, like, the game could take 3-4 years, right? That's the whole idea, is that the game, oh my god, you were thinking you'd get this game at the end of this year. Well, we're thinking like late 2025, to be honest with you. And it's like, does Sony accept that? Is Sony like, well, that's fine. That's maybe you could have told us that from the jump, but we'll accept that. I don't know. So again, cop-out answers, maybe, but my honest opinion is, do we get a Knights of the Old Republic remake in general at some point in our lives? I think so. I think so. Does it come from Aspire, the ones currently working on it? Like, that one's more tough because it's like, well, you're firing leads, right? I think it was it like the game designer or level designer, and there was the art director. It was like the art lead. So you fire an art lead and then some sort of a game or gameplay kind of, lead. It's like, those are two pretty big, even though I can't remember the one, those are two pretty big roles, you know what I mean? And so you need to fill that spot. And then, honestly, and here's kind of the situation they're stuck in. Not only would I imagine you need to fill the roles that you fired the people from, right? You need to fill those. But the issue seems to lie with, like, they're just not good enough. And don't twist my words. I'm not saying, like, they are not talented and that I could, like, simply step in and do it. I just mean, like, however it's set up, however it is, and with whatever employees or whatever time constraints or the how much they're trying to work towards their vision, that's, like, gigantic, right? If the goal is, like, up here, but they're only capable of here, right? Like, we don't know. But I just feel like whatever the situation may be, they're not up for it, or they're not up to it, right? They cannot do it. And that's not a slight against their talent. It's a slight against whatever the situation may be. Maybe it is their talent because they want it to be so good, but they can't do it. Maybe it's time constraints. They want it to be so good, but they don't really have the time, or they don't have the right people in place, or the right amount of employees. They need more people. Whatever it is, again, it's like, well, not only do you have to replace people you fired, but it's almost like a sports team thing. Like, okay, a player goes out and then you bring a player in. Well, like, that fills that one spot. But if the team overall needs to improve, then you kind of have to look from within and be like, well, people that are already here, things that are already in place, that's the problem too. It's not just who we fired, it's the whole thing. And that is a major issue. But again, then you have Sony's contract with whatever that has to do with it. Do they allow this to go on for years, or are they allowed to pull the plug? I would imagine this: if Sony is allowed at this point, I would bet this, or just guess, I guess. If Sony is allowed to kind of pull the plug on their contract and say, we're done, we're not doing it, you could have Knights of the Old Republic. If them pulling the plug means the game is canceled, or if them pulling the plug means that the game can still go on but without their backing, I feel like they are going to honestly look at that, and we should find that out over the next little while. Remember, one final thing to say. There was a rumor, and I believe, cover this maybe on my second channel. There was a rumor a couple months ago that Microsoft, remember this? Microsoft was first approached, I believe, or was pitched this Knights of the Old Republic remake as an exclusive to them, or like their backing. And Microsoft turned it down. That's the rumor, that Microsoft actually went first, and they turned it down, and then Sony picked it up and took it. So it's like, at this point, was Microsoft actually pretty smart? Is Sony looking for a way out? Like, was Microsoft right that, we don't want anything to do with this? And again, though, without them, can you still make the game? Like, does Aspire have to shut down that studio or move them to a different project? Or can you still do it and it would be published by blank? Or Aspire is a publisher. So I think that is important. Like, Aspire publishes it, so does Sony just give the money, like backing? And if that's true, can you get another buyer? Can you sell it to Embracer Group? Can you send it? Can you I guess pitch it to Tencent, which I would not want, but can you do it to these other people? You may have to, because I have a feeling, I would just guess, that Sony is looking to pull the plug. That's just kind of how it comes across in the article. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on so you know when all these videos go up. If you want to follow or support me anywhere else, all my social media, including our Patreon, is in the description below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.